Hello, everyone. My name is Kerry Daigle. Welcome tonight. This is the Keep Punching University call. Today is a special day. It's our opportunity as listeners to meet the Juice Plus Company Global CEO, Travis Garza. Now, Travis, as a top performer, is a perpetual student. No matter how good he gets in his quest for perfection as a leader, he is always confronting his own limitations, looking to evolve and evolve even more. He understands what it takes to build successful companies in direct sales and to get it done rather quickly. Now, that's a little pressure. I'm sure he's thinking, okay, Kerry, slow it down. But he knows how to invest in partnerships with other experts. He's great at it. Now, we live in an age that encourages us to multitask, to put our videos on Zoom on inactive while we answer emails and texts or fix dinner, putting our Zoom on mute while we speak to others. In short, to be in multiple places at one time. But keep in mind that the highly successful check that urge, knowing the best way to achieve top-level success is knowing their best contributions will come from giving someone or something their full attention. We ask you to do that tonight as we interview Travis with questions that could be life-altering for your Juice Plus business. So, Travis, we want to thank you for taking your time from communicating with over 20 countries to give us your thoughts and your goals in this interview. So we're going to start immediately from the beginning, Travis, and that'll be where you're originally from.
Well, I'm originally from Idaho, the great state of Idaho, known for potatoes. And yes, I grew up on a farm in a farm area, a little small community called Shelley, Idaho. And my mom and dad were migrant workers growing up. But yes, I grew up in Idaho, a little town. I think at the time when I was growing up there, it was, I think 2,000, less than 2,000 people. It's grown a little bit since then. But I'm a farm boy. I used to work on the farms. I used to work on the irrigation lines. I used to transfer pipe. And yes, I did work on the trucks and what they call combines and pick dirt clods. I remember driving when I was 13 years old, a little truck full of potatoes. Back then, they just said, get in the truck and start driving, get to work. And so I was 13, 14 years old when I was actually working in the potato farms. It was one of my very first jobs. And I learned a lot about hard work and learned a lot about long hours, for sure.
Tell me a little bit about your parents, your family.
Well, some people have heard some of my background, and many. I will say this. What I love about this industry and I love about Juice Plus, everyone has a story. Everyone has a story, and in my story, my mom is from Mexico, and she's from the central part of Mexico. Her mom and dad came over, in the back of a truck, and they grew up very poor. And my dad is from the southern part of Texas, and they were migrant workers, and they used to work in the cotton fields, the beet fields, the corn fields. And the reason why they ended up in Idaho, quite frankly, was they were working in the potato fields, and in potato season, it ends in October is typically when it ends. And so that's why they went all the way up, and then they would work their way back. They'd go all the way up and work their way back. My mom and dad met at a Mexican dance. I know that a lot of people say, well, are you Mexican? And yes, I am. They call me the white Mexican. They call me gringo. They call me güero, which means whitey in Spanish. But yeah, my parents, hardworking, not a lot of education, but they certainly raised us right. And I learned, everything that I have here, I give them credit for. And like I said, everyone has a story. They just happen to be, they happen to work very hard, and they help bless me with what I have today.
Well, I really appreciate you sharing that with us and being very candid as to where you come from. I can relate to that story wholeheartedly. I don't want to get in the where I come from either, but I can relate to that
Yeah.
uh, very
Yeah.
well. How did you get your start in direct sales, Travis, and network marketing? My understanding is that you have over 2 decades of experience and working in approximately 30 countries. Am I correct?
That well, 65 actually, 65 countries. I've had the opportunity to visit all over Asia, all over Europe, all over the United States, Canada. Yeah, 65 countries, from China to Australia to I mean, it's been a journey for sure over these 2 decades in the industry for sure. But let me just say this, how I got started in this industry. I think about, back in the mid 90s, I was helping generate business with a good friend of mine. We started a company, and it was a call center business. And what I mean by call center is we were both interested in how we could help customer service. So we were taking customer service calls, and we were doing outbound telemarketing calls. And that was back when it was accepted. Right. And so we were growing it, and we were having a tremendous amount of success growing this business. And what we learned was that, we were doing contracts with HBO and DirecTV. We were doing work with AT&T, some of the big boys, and we grew it from several hundred people, or excuse me, from a few people to over 500 employees. And we had a tremendous amount of success. My job was to drive sales, marketing, incentives, drive the team, help with training, and his job was the operational side. And so we grew it, had a success. But there was a significant change in the world, and everybody was aware of it. It was September 11th, 2001. I think we can all remember where we were. A lot of us were impacted tremendously, but the trade towers were, destroyed in a tragic accident. I don't know if it was an accident, but unfortunately, it was a challenging time. But for us, that changed our business as well. Unfortunately, some of our work, ironically, was going overseas. We were trying to help as much as we could, but our company at the time, we had to lay off people. We didn't know what to do. It was a very difficult time. And so I had an option to take some of the resumes. And I just said, I'm going to help them find work. I felt so guilty. I've never experienced anything like that. And if you've ever been a part of a layoff, or you've had to lay someone off, it's the worst feeling ever. No one ever wants to go through that. And so for me, what happened was I started sending these resumes out, and I was committed to helping people find jobs because I felt so bad for their families. And the only place that was hiring at the time, the only place that was hiring in that local area was a company called Melaleuca. And Melaleuca, being around forever, I happened to send some resumes over there, and all of a sudden I received calls from that company, Kerry, and they called and said, "Hey, we want you to meet with our owner, Mr. Frank Vandersloot." And I said, "Well, I'm not. If he wants to talk about these resumes, I can tell you exactly what they are, what they're good at, what they're doing." And they're like, "No, no, 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 no. We want to talk with you." And what happened was I went to meet with the owner, and he said some very powerful things to me. He said, "In this industry, we care about people. We want to help people." And what he said to me was, anyone who cares enough about their employees and willing to help them out the way you've done deserves to be in this industry called direct sales. And that's where it all started. I knew about Melaleuca. I helped some businesses. I actually joined before this happened. I joined as a Melaleuca distributor. I grew. I knew what it's like to win, and I know what it's like to fail, because I grew really fast as an independent distributor, and I failed even faster. I grew through the ranks, and I didn't have a good system. I failed and I fell down, and people were laughing, and then I kept my other business going, and then this all happened. I think it was meant to be. And so I joined that corporate side, and then learned a little bit about what it was all about and fell in love with it. And I've been doing it ever since, you know, at the end of 2001, 2002, I've been in this business, and it's been wonderful.
Well, let me fast forward a little bit, Travis. In researching you, which I did quite a bit of, in researching you, history shows us that you held a lot of key leadership positions in several highly rated direct sales companies. And history shows us, you're very humble about this, but I'm going to hit you directly. History showed us that you assisted in bringing two of those companies to nearly $1 billion in sales annually, creating a lot of huge successes for them. What were your duties with these companies? And what do you feel is the secret to the huge successes of the ones you were associated with?
Well, I would say, yes, I had some success. I think, I would say that was a lot of help, a lot of support through this. There were a couple of companies. One of the companies we took from, several hundred million in sales to $1 billion, and now they're well over 2 billion, approaching 3 billion in sales. Another company we took from, really hard times to $1 billion in sales. I think what's most important, and what, my roles in these businesses were head of sales and marketing, president or CEO roles. And I think what helped us drive success in these businesses, one, face the brutal facts, face where we are today, and understand and listen to our customers and partners. So what I mean by face the brutal facts, every company has challenges, including ours. And I have a saying that I say to a lot of leaders I work with and partners that I work with: everyone's a disaster before they're a master, including me. Everyone's a disaster. So, businesses struggle too. Independent distributors struggle. But I would say that in my time, what we have to do is face brutal facts of, okay, what's the problem? What's the challenge? What's really going on? And then really coming up with a plan, a process, and then what you do is help people find solutions. And for me, what's been very helpful as I built this business is I've taken that approach, and I've said, I want to listen more. I want to make sure once we listen, we come up with a plan, we develop the processes, and we help people succeed. You can't do it without it. And I will tell you that the businesses that I've been around, or the businesses that I've studied, they've done some really, really good things when they've listened to our customers and partners. And that's exactly what I did when I started here, is to really listen in on what's going on. We have some challenges, but I'm telling you, we are going to overcome those. And I know that we're going to change the narrative of what people have been seeing and what people have been experiencing. We're going to change the narrative. We're going to grow this. And I feel confident that we're going to do this. We have some outside forces that we have never faced before in this industry today, but we're going to overcome this. And so I would say that, listen, plan, develop a process, and then help people find success and really direct them in the right way. I think it drives everything. Once you do that, then you can start to, you really start to say, well, what's the culture we want? How do we want to listen? Are we a company with a heart? Are we a company that's going to drive change? And I assure you, we are going to drive change here. I get passionate about it, and I'm not going to shy away from it. We're going to have to really stick up, and we're going to have to work together. The 750 people that are listening to this, we have to stand together. We have to work together. We cannot step back. And for many of you, you've been on here for years. We need to work with each other. We need to partner with each other. We need to lift each other up. That's what it's all about. And when businesses succeed, that's when we find success. When all of us start to say, we are going to make change. We are going to step up. That's what makes a difference in the companies that I've worked with.
Well, you got me fired up. I come from the fight game. So naturally, my job has always been to take a guy from absolute obscurity and bring him to a world championship fight. And you're the guy. You're doing the 12-round fight. You're bringing us to championship fight. And you're going to win this thing. I just feel I feel good about it, and so do all the people that we speak to across the world. I got to ask you this for everyone that's listening in: how did you hear about the Juice Plus company, and how did this match come together to have you start as our CEO July the 1st, I think, of 2023? Am I correct?
That's correct. That's correct. So, well, listen, at the time I was doing some consulting work. I wasn't ready to jump in. I helped a company, and I was working on. I will tell you, Kerry, I really I'm a big believer in diversification. I'm a really big believer in that. I tell people, make sure that you take care of your family and what you're doing. Anyone that I've ever worked with, I always tell, and in fact, I was talking with Debbie and Danny Martin recently, and I said, listen, we have to diversify. We all have to. We have to think about, what we're involved with: real estate, the market, maybe some businesses. We all have to think about this. And what I would say is Juice Plus gives you an opportunity to diversify yourself. In some cases, it gives you the chance to use this as a sole income. But I would say this: what's really, really, really important as we think about, our future and what we're doing, I think of it this way. Um, when I was at that point where I wasn't sure what I was going to do, I was consulting, I was diversifying, I was thinking about this, I was doing some real estate, and I thought, well, I'm going to put more time into that. And I was contacted by a recruiter. And a recruiter said, hey, we might be looking for somebody to help with a growth strategy for a company. And I said, I'm not really interested in a growth strategy position, but, I'd be open to talking. And what happened, Kerry, is they said, well, this company's been around a long time. It's well known in the industry. They have great products. You might want to touch base with, them. And I said, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we just have more conversations? I'd like to talk with the owner of the business and see what it is all about. And they said, well, we're not quite there ready yet, but and so we were kind of playing a little phone tag here and a little catch and mouse. And so I said, listen, just tell me the company. I just want to know the company. If I'm going to take this serious, what's the company name? And they said, well, we're not supposed to say, but it's a company called Juice Plus. And I said, wait a minute, Juice Plus? I said, Jay Martin? And they said, yes. And I said, you're kidding me. Listen, I've been in this industry for 20 plus years, and Jay Martin is a legend. And I can't say this enough. You hear stories in this industry. It's $170 billion plus industry, and his name is well known. And so I became more interested in it. And certainly as they started to tell me more, I had the chance to meet with the former CEO, meet with Jay Thompson, the CFO. I met with the private equity group. I started asking questions and looking at this. So this conversation, not a lot of people know this. This conversation actually started in February of 2023, and I started in July of 2023. And so I started doing my homework, and once I started digging in, I think it was for me the products and Jay Martin. That's how I started learning about this, and why I really leaned towards accepting this was because of Jay Martin's legacy, and what the company has done over the years. It really just set me off. So I knew about the company well beyond. And Kerry, I want you to know, I attended a conference in April of 2023 as a silent. I was silent. I went there because I said, I want to see what this culture is all about. I want to go to this event. So I went. It was in Phoenix, Arizona. And so I sat in the back row. I would walk up to the front. I was taking pictures, and I wanted to know what it was all about. I wanted to know what people were talking about. I wanted to know the energy. But it was the first time in a long time that I went to an event and no one knew who I was. I introduced myself to some people to see if they were nice, and they were nice. And so it was really, really fun to be there and enjoy that. But I knew that I was in well before I started Juice Plus.
Well, let me rewind a little bit. You have a lot of affection for Jay Martin, and it shows. You really studied the history of Jay Martin, and you speak of him constantly. What is it about Jay that really attracted you to study his history with the Juice Plus company?
I think, let me say this, and I'm serious about this, so I hope you're all listening to this point. 99% of us, including me, I would say 99% of us on this call are considered what the world calls an underdog. And what I mean by that is the world is a busy place, and there's a lot of very successful people, a lot of successful teams. And yes, there are people who are highly educated, very successful, make a lot of money. And in most terms, people consider those who they don't think are going to be successful. Maybe they don't have the skill set. Maybe they don't have the background. Maybe they don't have they're not extroverted. Maybe they're not the salesperson. You're an underdog. And what I love about his story is that I think most people would have considered him a school teacher, not very well-versed in building a very successful business. They would have considered Jay Martin an underdog. And I think about, the history of entrepreneurship and the history of what we have. What I fell in love about Jay's story, he was an American, and I'd say a world leader that was an underdog. And most people would consider him an underdog. It's just like many of you are underdogs. But when you have the belief and the hope and the passion to help others, underdogs become powerful mentors and leaders. And what I saw with Juice Plus was that Jay Martin was always there for the underdog. And I will never forget that, for what he's done for you, what he's done for people, the millions of people who have been there. We're all underdogs in many ways. In one shape or form, you still may be an underdog. Even if you're doing very well, don't ever lose sight, because when you're an underdog, you keep looking up to say, how can I help? How can I serve? How can I bless other people? What can I do to provide hope? What can I do to help people win? Underdogs find ways to win. And what I love about Jay, no matter where he was, no matter what he was doing, he was an underdog looking to serve.
Wow. I mean, that's really touched me, and it's probably touched many people here on this call today, because we all fell in love with Jay Martin and still care for him immensely. Mickey just slipped me a question. This is
Okay.
from Mickey. She just slipped it to me. She said, what is it that you see as the most powerful asset that we have as a company, and how can we improve?
Well, one of the most powerful, it's asset. Well, I would say, I would say two things. One, right now, I would say our culture, but our culture doesn't spread unless we open our mouths. The culture at Juice Plus. If you've ever been with another company, let me see your hands, another direct sales company. And then, if you've been now with Juice Plus, you know that our culture is amazing. The support, the relationships, the culture is very important. But I would say outside of culture, I would say the number one asset that we have right now, that we should really, really take a look at, is our products, the capsules specifically, the fruits, vegetables, the berry, and our omegas. I have never seen a product line like this. I've never seen a research product like this. Last weekend, I was in Atlanta, Georgia, and I happened to see Dr. Gerald Tolzer present. Here is a world-renowned surgeon, and he was talking about the products and how women who are in pregnancy or are about to go pregnant, and what the difference it makes in their nutrition, and the delivery of their babies and the health. I came home and I told my wife, I was almost in tears, Kerry, because I said, every woman who's thinking about it should be taking these products. Every woman who's thinking about having babies or in pregnancy, they need to be on these products. I came home and I said, you know, when our daughter, we only have one daughter, or when our daughter-in-laws are thinking about having, they are going to be on these products. We need to make sure that we help. This is our number one asset. We need to spread the word. We need to be bold. We need to be courageous in this. But the number one asset. We just recently did a survey, Kerry. 32. We just commissioned a survey. 32,000 people we did a survey with. 32,000 people over 6 countries around the world, and we wanted to know their view on fruit and vegetables, and what we learned is that 75% of the 32,000, I mean, this is a huge survey, 75% of them have all said they either are confused about what portions of fruit and vegetables they have, or they're confused on, you know, how to take, where to really afford it, I couldn't believe it. But we know this, and we know the opportunities for people to understand this. We can make it simple. We just have to be courageous in opening our mouths. But I would say that asset, that's a multiple billion-dollar asset that we have in front of us. And for your business, I would never be afraid to sharing that. Yeah, people are going to say no, but when you have this type of asset that every household needs, why wouldn't we open up our conversations? It's such a powerful thing. I hope you agree. How many people agree that are on this? It is such a powerful thing, and it's changing our lives. You know, when you hear about prevention in nutrition, this is it. This is it. This is really it.
Well, I want to tell you, Dr. Tolzer got in touch with me last night. His son is going to college in Lafayette, University of Lafayette, Louisiana, and he wants us to kind of watch over him. He talked very highly about you, Travis, before leaving to go back to Austria, I think, this weekend.
That's right.
So, we're lucky to have Dr. Tolzer. He's an amazing guy, and we're going to definitely take care of his son so he can take care of us over here at Juice Plus.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm going to spill the beans here a little bit, okay? I know you've been working exceptionally hard to bring your A team to Juice Plus. Men and women like Bill Baker.
That's right.
And Gina, and I may mispronounce the last name, Gouray, is that right?
Gura, that's right.
Gura, and Sally McFarland.
That's right.
Would you mind sharing their expertise and what they're bringing to the table? This is so important. And I know I'm kind of hitting you right between the eyes with some key people. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, let me just say this for all of you who are on the call. A successful company has to grow. And so I'm going to share a little bit more than I normally would, but I just want to make sure that all of you know the direction that we're going. Our executive team we've been really thinking about this. And I want you to know that it's been hard with some of the decisions that I've made. It's not been easy. Recently, we made a change with our Chief Information Officer, the person who was running our technology before. And you know, when you separate and you have this, it's not that you don't like. I really liked our former CIO, but I knew there was probably a gap with where we were going, and I think you can all recognize that we've had some technical challenges over the years. But I can tell you that my fear was it was going to continue to have challenges if we didn't make a change and really listen to what was going on. So recently I hired on a new Chief Information Officer, Bill Baker, who has been in this industry. And he's also helped a company in our industry do a completely new digital transformation. And he transformed their technical side, old antiquated system, hard to get data, hard to enroll someone, hard to see your team. He knew exactly what he did that for a company that went from a small company to well over 1.5 billion in annual sales. And I called him, Kerry, on a weekend. I didn't use a recruiter. I didn't know him, but I know what he did. And so I called him personally on a weekend and said, hey, my name is Travis Garza. I would like to talk with you. He almost didn't believe me. He said, you're who? And I said, I'm the CEO of Juice Plus, and I want to talk with you. And we talked for literally like an hour and a half that day. And we talked for more hours over the next 2 weeks. And I said, I want to hire you to help us help this company called Juice Plus. And so Bill Baker is our new chief information officer. He's going to be giving updates, but there were some challenges. We were never going to get to where we need to be. And many of you, unfortunately, have been suffering a little bit, but I believe with his leadership, he's going to help us. I also want to let you know that we made a transition in marketing, very tough decision. We've now hired on a new head of marketing, someone who's been in the industry a long time. She's been on the retail side. She's been on the e-commerce side, the social selling side, the digital side, product development, both in nutrition and skincare. She's been involved with new AI technology. It's unbelievable, but I knew that we had to have someone, and she's going to be coming on board and helping us. And we're working like crazy to improve on not only the marketing side, but her role and responsibility. And again, I'm sharing way more information than I would normally, but I've given her 2 responsibilities in marketing. She's going to be a strategist, someone who works on works on branding and positioning, making us look really good. Because what we know is not all the best products sell the most, the best marketed products sell the most. So what I told her is I want her to be a strategist, working on the positioning, and 2, on product, and making sure that we can share about our product and come up with new ideas on how we can become what I would call sexy. Number 2 is that she's a commercializer, someone who is thinking about communications and how we sell our products and our company through communications, through marketing communications. We can't live without it. It's so important. We brought on people like Matthias Middleborn, who's working on customer success. And some of you may never have even heard of this, but Matthias lives in Europe, and his specialty is going to help us find ways that we can save and keep our customers long term. We need to make sure that we're doing the things so his title is Vice President of Global Customer Success. And so we brought on people like this. Sean Hopkins, as many of you know, we're getting him more involved with integration as far as what's happening so that we're listening to our customers. There's so much that's going on right now as far as how we're building this team. We are going to make some difference. And I believe that you'll be able to see those very, very quickly. We have a new product that we're going to be announcing soon. And we're planning to expand with our product roadmap very quickly, but we want to do it very carefully. This team, we are going to make change. We are going to make change. And I will tell you this, the number one thing that I've been telling the group is, let's make sure that we are aligned. Let's make sure that we're building a plan. We know our processes and that we can help people understand where they're going. And everything that we do has to be simple. We call it grandma code. We want to make it so simple that grandma understands where we're going and she can figure it out. Every one of us has a grandma or is a grandma or it works with a grandma. We want to make it so simple that grandma can explain it just like this or work on it or use the technology super simple. That's where we're going.
Now, I really got excited with met Bill Baker at the Canadian meeting at our last conference. Really sharp guy. And I'm looking forward to meeting Gina and the rest of the team. Someone that really caught my attention a whole lot was Sally McFarland.
Yeah. Sally McFarland is our new chief legal counsel. Sally McFarland, we were using Sally as, and one thing, Kerry, that you have to understand, I believe in diversification. I believe that we should have men and women. I believe that we have some powerful women, and they are going to help us think of another mindset. And I think that, Sally McFarland, from a legal standpoint, she is She was a consultant, and I said, listen, we need to have her on board. She's going to be there to help protect the company. She's going to be there to help with the contracts. She's going to be there to help us negate some of the negativity that's out there. But one of the other things that she's going to help us on, and I've been one of the strict requirements that I'm asking of Sally, she's taking over and overseeing compliance. And what's really important for me is that we have to be bold about what we're saying. And I've asked Sally to say, we are going to open up more and be a lot more aggressive on what we're saying. Our competitors are saying it. Our our competition in other areas are saying it. They're saying it on TV, they're saying it in radio, they're saying it on print. Why aren't we doing it? And so what I've challenged her and commissioned her, she's actually going to be here with some of our leaders here in a week on February 19th and 20th. She's going to meet some of our founders, because I told her, you need to fly in and meet with them because they have an issue with what we're doing. We cannot hold back anymore. We need to be bold. And so she's going to be coming in next week, flying in and meeting with all of us to talk about that, because we have to change our business. We have to be bold and aggressive with what we do. Now, again, she's going to help protect our company. So if you're out there and you get out of hand and you know when you're doing something wrong, she is going to tap you on the shoulder. But she's a nice person, but she can be mean. She can be mean too. So you have to understand that she's not a pushover.
No, I mean, her history has been proven that she's not afraid of the FTC, for one thing. So
Yeah, no.
I'm excited to meet her in Memphis. I really am. I'm looking forward to that wholeheartedly. Not many of us, and the things that you just mentioned, many of us who started in the late 80s and moved into the changes from environmental products to health and wellness, many of the people involved in deserted us. I mean, it's no secret. A lot of people that are on this call today are not familiar with that. They haven't been in the company long enough. Mickey and I have been together in the company for 34 years. And but all those people, Travis, have regretted it and have never had success anywhere else in direct sales. So from that, Juice Plus became a leader in its field. I like to say the GOAT of encapsulated wellness products. And we set records. Now, I envision the Juice Plus company with your leadership to set records in 2024, 25, and 26. And those that are serious could really grow their business dramatically. I know what's going on. I'm watching every move you make like it's a chess game. So could you elaborate on those comments a little bit?
Well, listen, I think every one of us at times or another, it was interesting. I was listening to a conversation not too long ago, and it was a counselor talking to a married couple, and one of the man in the relationship was saying to the counselor, I think I have this 7-year itch. Have you ever heard somebody say, I have this 7-year itch? It's not going to work. Something happens at this. I don't know what it was about the 7-year. I heard about it. I've been married for 27 years. Has it been perfect? Absolutely not. Do we have 4 amazing children? Yes. I love my wife and I love my family. And I think what's really important is we've had some difficult times, things that we probably would never want to experience. No one wants to experience it, but we all have a story, as I said at the beginning, but you never give up on your family. And there's things that we're forced with that we may not, it may be out of our control. But I will tell you this, what's interesting is when I think about, Kerry, as far as where we're at, people have made the choice to leave. Were they leaving because of the company, or were they leaving because of where they were at with the mindset? And I would say that they were probably leaving because of the mindset. And, what I would say is that most times, that when people start in a business like ours, remember, as leaders, I want you to know 2 common questions that brand new partners ask every time, and they may not ever tell you. 1, can I do it? And is it worth it? They will ask that question. And some of you maybe ask that question, can I do it? And is it worth it? And when you're sitting down with somebody and you're talking with them, Well, remember, when you're giving that presentation or you're talking with them about this, they're asking the question, can I do this? And is it worth it? And if you're not prepared, if you don't have a plan on how you're going to help them or what you're going to tap them to do, the first steps, then I will tell you it's very important. Having a growth mindset is about being prepared. Having a growth mindset is being and understanding that you're going to have really tough days. Having a growth mindset is understanding how you can grow and what you can do. I learned long ago that a growth mindset, having the right mindset, is as easy as ABCs, 1, 2, 3s. I learned this years ago in this industry. I love it. And I always share it when I get the opportunity. And I think when I think about this, when you think about this, those leaders who have left, they didn't have the right mindset. And sometimes it's, they leave for greener pastures. They leave and they say, hey, the grass is greener on the other side. I will tell you, stop and just water your grass now. Water where it's at right now and feed it and nourish it. Sometimes that grass will come back fuller, thicker than you've ever thought before, but you have to have the right mindset. And the ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, attitude, A for attitude, B for belief, and C for commitment. Do you have the right attitude? Do you have the right belief? Do you have the right commitment? And the 1, 2, 3s, I always look at this and I always say, what is it? Use the products. Number one, use the products. And if you're not using the products every day, you don't know how to talk about it. If you're not using the products, then number two, you have to talk to people. If you don't have a right mindset, you're not going to talk to people, but you have to talk to people. And number three, use the company material, use the tools, use what you learn at these Saturdays. I was at an unbelievable event in Atlanta last week, and I learned so much. I was taking notes. I was like, my hands were tired. Use the tools in front of you. Don't be a tool, use the tools. And I think that's important for us to keep in mind. If you're trying to be a tool, it won't work. Use the tools. ABCs, 1, 2, 3s. If you're leaving for greener pastures, just know that you're leaving for a reason. Always water your own grass where you're at.
Well, Travis, not one of these people are happy they left. I know every one of them. They're all regretting it. But it's too late. They're gone. In closing, listen, we appreciate your thoughts and your history with us and being very candid in everything that you mentioned. Any final thoughts?
Great question. I mean, how do you end this? First of all, let me give you a couple thoughts. Number one, I just want to say thank you, Kerry and Mickey. It was Mickey's birthday recently. And they sent me a picture of her with her birthday. I just want all of you who are celebrating something. For me this week, my son is getting married on Saturday. It's our first one getting married. I have a daughter getting married in June. I have 2 that are graduating, one from university and one from high school, and we're going to be empty nesters. So maybe that's a little bit of a celebration. It's also a little bit of sadness in my household as well. But if I were to say this, I think finishing this out, people want to be wanted. I think all of us do. Natural human beings, people want to be wanted. They want to be a part of a family. They want to be a part of a community, and they long to be a part of something or be someone that's a part of a community. I think this is really, really important. It reminds me of a story. Years ago, I heard a story of a man. It was in Wales. And he was trying, what I remember is he was trying to court this lady, this girl. He was trying to date her. And for 42 years, he was sending her letters and he was, I think at 74 years old, he never really made the work, but he would write her letters every week and he was trying to figure it out. And, in fact, the story goes, he wrote 2,184 letters. When I heard this, I couldn't believe it. I was like, wait, this guy wrote 2,184 letters, love notes to this lady. And what really made the difference is he finally knocked on the door to introduce himself and tell her how he felt. And what I loved about this is that, I think the couple is now, I think they're 74 years, 75 years old now. But sometimes it's just about opening up and saying, what do I really want? And what do I want my community to be around me? And, you know, what I love about where we're at with Juice Plus is that Jay Martin's vision, no matter where he's at 10 years, 15 years from now, when he's no longer on this earth, we know that we want to be a part of a community that Jay Martin left behind. And I will tell you that all of us have an impact. We all have something. We all want to be a part of a community. We all want to be a part of a family. We long to be someone who's making a difference. You can make a difference. And I think as a company, if we think about our future, hope is a powerful word. And I hope that you know that if you've been blessed in any way, that you will be a blessing to someone else in the world today. So don't ever lose sight of that. Don't ever lose sight of what we have here. I believe in hope, and I believe in helping other people find that hope. I love Juice Plus. It's not when you get into Juice Plus, it's when Juice Plus gets into you, and it certainly has gotten into me over this short period so far. Look forward to a great future, Kerry.
Well, to everyone that's listening in, Travis shows you how to think big, act big, and win big. So follow his advice and watch your paycheck grow big. You know, so that's all we have to say. I'm going to cut down the recording, and I'm just going to ask you to thank Travis for spending his night with us tonight. 1 minute.